Many people have serious misconceptions about a group of mammals known as bats. There are abundant myths that they are vicious carriers of rabies and pests. The fact is that bats are actually quite harmless and are important indicators of a healthy environment.
Bats are very unique animals. If you ever want to learn about a cool animal, bats are definitely the way to go. I think that they unfortunately get a kind of a bad rap because you always see the scary movies where the bats are, near the castle and you got evil spirits and, out comes the bats. But and they always talk about the vampire bats, but actually there's a very small percentage of bats that are actually the vampire bats. The ones we have here in Colorado all eat insects. They are mammals, so they have all the mammalian characteristics. They have highly regulated body temperatures, they have hair, they give birth to live young. So they have all those, mammal characteristics. They are the only true flying mammal as well. So bats are definitely a fun species to learn. There's a lot to learn, a lot of unique characteristics you can learn about bats. Different types of bats will have different diets. In Colorado, we have 18 different species of bats, and they're all insectivores, so they all will eat insects. The little brown bat, which is one of the most common bats that we have here in Colorado, has been known to eat up to 150 mosquitoes in 15 minutes, so they're definitely the guys that you want around. Bats can live, depending on the species, they prefer different types of habitats. Unlike a lot of other mammals, their habitat isn't as dependent on vegetation as much as it is on their food source. So for our insectivores, they're looking for where the insect populations are going to be high. And then also where they roost is really going to be dependent on where you find them as well. Some of them prefer caves or old mines, where some of them will actually roost under bark. Or in bridges. So it really depends on where they can find the food source and where they like to find that roost site. Every now and then we do get calls that people have found a bat in the attic or in the house, and there's a few different things you can do. One is if it's in the attic and it's not really bothering you, you can leave it there if you don't consider it a problem. Bats are in the attic just like they would go into a cave, looking for that dark spot to roost. If you want to get them out of the house, again, they're looking for a dark, quiet spot, so what you need to do is disrupt that environment a little bit. So open up some doors, open up some windows so they have a way to get out, flip on the lights and throw a radio in there. Usually that'll be enough disturbance to get them to leave on their own. One of the diseases that we do find in bats is rabies. It is a bat strain of rabies. It's not all that common, even though when we find a bat that's sick, a lot of times that is the cause of it. Considering the number of bats and how often we find it is pretty rare, but every now and then we do find rabies in bats. Again, as long as you don't touch that animal, if you find a sick bat laying on the ground middle of the day, that's unusual behavior for a bat, just call local animal control, or you can call our agency and we'll come and take care of it for you.
Here are some important tips to remember about bats. Exclusion is the best policy in preventing bats from gaining entrance into buildings. Caulking cracks is most effective if applied during dry weather when cracks are widest. Weather stripping is also effective in repairing cracks. And never handle a bat that appears sick or wounded.